It is a league-wide celebration of the life of Roberto Clemente, one of the greatest players to ever play the game, along with one of its greatest humanitarians. From Wrigley Field in Chicago, we also feature a primetime pitching matchup, Bauer versus Darvish.
Welcome to the show, let's make moves. Nothing's gonna stop us, it's to get rough. Turn the whole room up, it's never enough. Let's go, 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 let's go.
And we're looking forward to it. Alongside Chris Welsh, I'm Jim Day. If you like pitchers with large repertoires, you're going to love tonight's game. Let's start with Trevor Bauer.
And elite stuff. I mean, it may not be a good night to be penciled in either lineup here tonight with Bauer and Darvish going at it. But Trevor Bauer, he seems like the mad scientist trying to invent better and better pitches all the time. And he's nearly there at the top of the trade because he's got three pitches that are just outstanding. The fastball that, even though it's only around 94, 95 miles an hour, terrific spin rate, gets a lot of strikeouts on that, does Trevor Bauer. The slider is where he really starts to shine. I mean, because it looks like a fastball just about all the way to the plate and then has a tremendous amount of break. If that's not enough, he also has a curveball, which has a great over-the-top rotation and drops straight down, gets a ton of strikeouts. That's a very good pitch for left-handed hitters. And it's amazing to see Darvish against Bauer because Darvish has a similar repertoire, but maybe times twice as many different pitches.
And he is making a legitimate claim for National League Cy Young Award here in 2020. And they say up to 11 variations of pitches.
Well, he's a field pitcher, but he's also got 97-mile-an-hour fastball, as slow as a 62-mile-an-hour curveball. So let's take a look at some of his elite pitches as well. Darvish does not throw the fastball as much as Bauer. He throws a cutter, and that's a pitch that looks like a fastball, not quite as hard as a fastball, moves away from a right-handed hitter, goes into a left-hander. He throws a lot of those early in the count. A little bigger breaking pitch is a slider. He throws it hard, but not nearly as hard as the cutter, and he's got great control of that pitch. And like he needs anything else, he does have that fastball. Gets a lot of strikeouts, 97 miles an hour that fastball comes in. He's a guy that doesn't overuse it very much, and he's pitching to his own plan out there, and he is one of the best pitchers in all of baseball right now.
Do the numbers suggest you got to be aggressive against Darvish?
Yes, they do, because a lot of pitchers just say, okay, make this guy throw strikes, don't be too anxious. But against Darvish, you have to get up there and be aggressive. He's got a very low walk rate, so if you're looking for a walk, you're not going to get one. Look at the on-base percentage on the very first pitch of the at-bat. It is .462. So when you can do that on the first pitch, why not look for something up there? And in Darvish's case, it's either going to be that cutter or the slider. And when he gets two strikes on you, well, good luck there because that on-base percentage of 168. I know pitchers who get on base better than that when he gets two strikes on you. So he's got that put-away pitch. He really spreads it out among all of his pitches when he gets two strikes on him. But the key is getting before he gets two strikes.
Going to be a good matchup, game two of a three-game set. But the day and the night belongs to Roberto Clemente. They'll be number 21 all over the place. And we'll talk about the great one when we come back. Fox Sports Ohio is brought to you by Chevy. Check out their award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good, it's Skyline time. Roberto Clemente Day throughout Major League Baseball, and annually they give out the Roberto Clemente Award for community service. Each team has a nominee, and this year's deserving honor for the Cincinnati Reds, Tucker Barnhart. Brian Giesenslaw has more.
In the Barnhart household, family comes first. But a few months ago, even as Tucker and his wife Sierra were just weeks away from baby number 2, Barnhart had an idea, not about his own family, but the ones especially hard hit by the pandemic.
I was naive thinking about it, that it wouldn't kind of blow up when I put it on Twitter, but I'm happy that it did.
The idea that took off on Twitter was Takeout Thursdays. The Barnharts would buy gift cards to restaurants in Cincinnati and in Zionsville, Indiana, where they live, and then encouraged people on social media to pick up dinner on their dime. and maybe spend some of their own money as well.
Our downtown, if you want to call it that, is it's a cobblestone street with probably 8 restaurants or more, with some little shops. They're all family owned and basically family operated. And we really enjoyed going to those places and eating at those restaurants and just wanted to try and do what we could to help them.
That community connection is just one of the ways Barnhart earned the Reds nomination for the Roberto Clemente Award, baseball's most prestigious individual honor for character and community service.
He has 2 kids now, and for him to take the time to think of others besides, his family is number one, but he also makes sacrifices for the community, like you said, and for him to take time out of that to help others besides his family is also huge as well.
I've got 2 boys. I want them to look up to their dad and be proud of what their dad did, not on the field, but off the field as well. And given the opportunity in the platform that I have, that I'm so fortunate to have, it made sense to do what we did during the pandemic and just try to help out a little bit.
And the irony of this year isn't lost on Barnhart. In a time we're asked to stay socially distant, his generosity in some ways brought his community closer.
It's something that I'm very proud of, and with this being my 2nd nomination, for me, it's really special, and it's humbling for sure.
All right, here's how you can vote for Tucker. Log on to MLB.com/Clemente21. Vote through the end of the regular season, and we wish Tucker the best, but just being your team's nominee, a very large honor for the Reds catcher. It's the Reds and Cubs coming up here on Fox Sports Ohio when we come back. Take a look around the league and then lineups and first pitch. To the game, let's take you around the league. Slam Diego Padres, the name fits because they have 7 grand slams this season. No other National League team has more than 2, to put that in perspective. New York Yankees have come down to earth, 5-15 over their last 20 games. First time they've been at 500 in September since 1995. Think about that. And the Milwaukee Brewers franchise record, 13 extra base hits in a 19-0 win over the Tigers today. 19-0. Game 2 of a 3-game set. Reds and Cubs on deck.
Friendly confines, Wrigley Field. Reds and Cubs set to do battle. Joey Votto, your leadoff hitter, already in the box. Yu Darvish about to deliver the game's first pitch, and we are underway. And it's down low for ball 1. Yu Darvish riding a career-high 7-game winning streak. And his numbers, they're in the Cy Young category for this season. Your leading contender right now in the National League. 1-0 to Votto. Home plate umpire tonight, Chris Siegel. Evens account at 1-1. Reds would certainly like to figure out the splits of Votto home and road, because it is truly remarkable. On the road, Votto just an .081 hitter as he hits into the shift here for out number 1. And here's the rest of the Reds batting order, brought to you by Jeff Weiler Automotive. Castellanos due up next. Winker, Suarez hitting cleanup. Moustakas at second base. Shogo in left field tonight with Goodwin in center field. Galvis at shortstop, and Tucker Barnhart behind the plate.
You notice this lineup, though, tonight, Jim, no rookies in this lineup. It's not a time to try to give some guys experience at the big league level. This is a must-win tonight lineup by David Bell.
With only 18 games remaining in the season, we've been waiting for that stretch of what they put together, a winning streak, but they certainly have to start by winning series. And it would take a win tonight and a win tomorrow night against the Cubs to accomplish that.
Here's a little interesting thing to watch about Yu Darvish, and watch his first pitches. Remember last night with Alec Mills out there, his first time through the Reds lineup, he threw almost all fastballs. Darvish will throw his first 2 pitches almost every at bat, either a cutter or a slider. A little wrinkle going away from right-handers.
3 straight pitches out of the zone to Castellanos. It's run by Darvish. The numbers are just off the charts during the 7-game winning streak. 0.98 ERA.
And not only that good of an earned run average, but he's not had a game where he's given up more than 1 run in that game. So he's been very consistent. Best he's ever been.
It's a 4-pitch walk, though, to Castellanos.
Now, the interesting thing is, though, for the Reds is that the last time he faced the Reds, he gave up 9 base runners. And that was the most that he has given up all season long. Gave up 7 hits and 2 bases on balls. He's already walked 1 here in the first inning.
Well, over this 7-game stretch, he's walked just 8. This goes back to July 31st. 8 walks coming into tonight's game, 58 strikeouts. 58 strikeouts. This guy that's always struck people out. Came into the league and hit the ground running in that department. Will anyone have room for this one? They will not. It was Darvish. Became the fastest pitcher in MLB history to reach 1,300 career strikeouts, both by batters faced and innings pitched. Oh, 1 count to Jesse Winker. Winker has seen his batting average shrink to 286. Still has a very nice 994 OPS. Ten home runs, 18 RBIs to go along with that average. One and 2 on Jesse Winker. Tonight a rematch of Bauer and Darvish. Chris, you were talking about the last time the Reds saw him. It was on August 29th. 6 innings of scoreless baseball from Darvish. Bauer gave up 3 earned runs in 5 1/3. It was a 3-0 Cubs victory. One-two pitch.
The Reds are making him work here a little bit in the first inning, which is very important. Darvish, you know, once he gets his feet on the ground and gets his rhythm, he can be extremely tough. So a pitcher like Darvish, you want to get early, you want to get him early in the count and early in the ball game.
He was setting the world on fire, was Winker, until he served that 1-game suspension. He's 1 for 18 since. 2-2.
He's having a good at bat here. He's laid off a couple of close pitches, breaking ball down in the dirt, that last one, the fastball earlier in the count that just missed the top of the zone. Looking for his first hit against Darvish in 9 tries.
Both of these clubs will see a lot of pitches. We talked last night about Chicago hitters, tops in the majors, 4.18 pitches per plate appearance. Indians are second in that category. Reds are third, 4.08. There goes Castellanos. And we'll do it again.
You know, the other thing to notice about Darvish, when he has a runner at first base, you'll notice that he takes a very long time. You know, the current thought for right-handed pitchers is it's very difficult to pick guys off first base. So the best way to shut down a running game is to hold the ball a long time, make the runner's legs feel a little bit heavy, get him out of his cadence a little bit. Just take your time out there. He does it.
Yeah, very good at bat by Winker. Back-to-back walks given up by Darvish. Here's the defense behind Darvish, brought to you by Ford. Schwarber in left, Happ in center. Hayward back in the lineup. He's in right. At infield of Bryant, Baez, Vargas, Rizzo, and Caratini. I think Bodie's at third base tonight, unless they made a lineup change. Here's Jason Hayward back in the lineup.
Darvish coming into this ball game had only walked 8 batters all year long. Now he walked 2 against the Reds last time, and he's walked 2 in this inning.
So a chance for Suarez. 2 on, 1 out.
Yeah, this is where Suarez has to look away. You're not going to get anything good to hit on the inner part of the plate right here unless Darvish happens to hang a slider or a cutter. He's going to work you away. He knows that Suarez has been pulling off the baseball. And when he's going right, that's where he likes to hit the ball, right center field.
Ball and a strike on Suarez.
You can see the early movement on his hips right there, just kind of flying open with his hips and just not able to get to the pitches that he gets to when he really is in a good groove.
The 1-1.
We have one right there he would like to have back.
One ball and 2 strikes, the count on Suarez. Defense playing Suarez straight up, and that is unusual here in 2020. Strike 3 called. Came with the gas at 97, down and away.
You know, he does that a lot. I mean, it's the first fastball that Suarez saw the entire at bat. And Darvish waits until he gets 2 strikes on you, kind of lulls you to sleep with the breaking pitch, and then breaks out the 97.
So the Reds are going to need a 2-out knock from Mike Moustakas. Moustakas 1 for 3 here last night. So what should a left-handed batter be looking for against Darvish?
Well, Mike Moustakas is that guy. I mean, a first pitch slider or curve. So Darvish did that to Moustakas right here. First pitch breaking pitch. And then if the batter gets ahead in the count, that's when he really starts using the slider heavy. And he's got great control of it, Darvish does. But when a batter's behind and when he gets 2 strikes on you, when he really starts mixing it up, and he's got about 6 pitches from which to choose.
Breaking ball. Moustakas puts a charge into one. Right center field. Goodbye! Moose! Red strike first in this one. 3-0 Cincinnati. Boy, the offense just kind of trudging along, and they needed that.
Well, they sure did. And on a normal night, you would hear a lot of Reds fans at Wrigley Field cheering this one going out of the ballpark. Into the night, into the bleachers and right center field. Got a breaking pitch to Mike Moustakas and put a really good swing on it. Man, does that give that entire dugout just a huge sigh of relief.
Not only some much-needed runs and an early lead for this club, but coming against the hottest pitcher in the league. And here is Shogo. And this is the primetime matchup as far as those in Japan go. Second time the two have faced off in a game.
I'm not sure how many pitchers can shake their heads 6 times and come up with a new pitch. The last guy I saw who could do that and really come up with different pitches, you're not shaking them back to get to a one that you threw a sign down earlier on, was Bronson Arroyo. And he was a little bit like Darvish. He would kind of invent pitches on the fly.
Yeah.
Of course, Arroyo wished that he had 97
every
once in a while.
Yeah, just that one time where you dream. Inside out swing from Shogo. Going to be a tough play for Baez, and he throws it past Rizzo, and Shogo will be at second base. Not sure they would have got him anyways.
Baez
Take a
has
look.
a rocket arm. I mean, he fields this ball. Somehow he's able to get this ball as the third baseman Bodie cuts right in front of him right here. And remember, Akiyama runs very well. And he just plants and cuts it loose. And it looks like that Rizzo tries to keep his foot on the bag. Rizzo could have saved himself an error on the shortstop right there if he just comes off the bag to make the play. Would not have had the runner, but still would have saved the runner in scoring position.
And nearly nailed Moustakas and a coach in the dugout, and I've been there, done that at Wrigley. Sitting down just beyond the dugout, where I would normally sit for games that you're in line with the first baseman. Exactly.
Those are big league seats you have down there now. I mean, people
used to be. Now
on.
they changed the configuration. Not as big league anymore. Since they have new dugouts in there.
You're not complaining about field level seats at Wrigley Field?
No, no complaints,
okay.
But it's just kind of down in a well now. Before, I was just sitting basically amongst the fans right in first row.
Well, compared to the tiny little VW microbus that they have up there as the visiting television booth.
Yeah. You know what? I'd actually like to be there right now.
Indeed.
But this is fine and dandy as well. Anyway, we can take in Reds baseball. It's all good. 3 balls and a strike to count on Brian Goodwin. And Baez, one of the players wearing 21, as this is Roberto Clemente Day, and players of Puerto Rican descent wearing 21 today. Other players have lobbied to wear 21. I know Brent Suter, Cincinnati's own, asked the Clemente family if he could wear 21 today, and I believe they granted that. Darvish wearing 21 today. For the Reds, Michael Lorenzen already wears 21, and he changed it a la in honor of Roberto Clemente. He used to wear number 50. And Jose De Leon, Reds reliever from Puerto Rico, wearing 21 tonight. Those are done in the first, but not before Mike Moustakas. Big lift for the club. 3-run bomb. Nothing lead over their division rival, the Cubs. They're trying to even up this 3-game set at a game apiece. Look at the numbers. First 4 compared to the last 3. First 4 off the charts.
And the last 3 haven't really been all that bad. I mean, the strikeout, the walks are there. The 0-3 record looks bad because he's not getting a whole lot of run support. But that has changed tonight. He's got a 3-run lead. Now time for Trevor Bauer. But we're going to talk about the connection that he has with his counterpart, Yu Darvish, as the game goes on. But he's got to be extra motivated here tonight, knowing where the Reds are, their backs against the wall, a very important game on a very important road trip.
Ian Happ, the University of Cincinnati product, leading off for the Cubs. Came into last night's game on fire, and the Reds cooled him off last night, despite the Cubs' win 0 for 4. He struck out 3 times. Overall, Happ, a .295 batter, 12 home runs, 24 RBIs. Ball and a strike. Second highest slugging percentage in the league. And when you combine the on-base plus slugging percentage, OPS, Happ amongst the league leaders. In fact, before last night, he was leading the league in OPS. And after last night's game, has fallen to 4th in the majors, 1.050 OPS, and strikes out here. Good start for Bauer. The rest of the Cubs lineup brought to you by Jeff Weiler Automotive. Wilson Contreras due up now into the 2 spot and tonight's designated hitter. Rizzo batting 3rd. Baez cleanup. Schwarber in left. Caratini doing the catching duties tonight. Hayward in right. Bodie at 3rd base. Vargas at 2nd base. And here is Contreras. Bauer ranks amongst the league leaders. ERA 4th, 7th in strikeouts, and 2nd in strikeouts per 9 innings.
And he probably leads the universe in intensity. I mean,
Yeah.
you can almost feel it trying to make its way through your television set. Yeah, you must feel incredible on the field behind Bauer because he has that kind of, high level intensity on every game that he pitches. And he demands his fielders have the same.
Tried to get him to chase another fastball up high. This time Contreras lays off.
What we've seen with Trevor, I think, is that when he gets on a roll, he's like a big snowball that just gets bigger and more powerful and bigger. And the times he struggles a little bit is when, somebody nicks him around early on and has a little bit of bad luck, maybe a bad fielding play behind him or two. But right now with a 3-0 lead, I mean, that ought to give him really quite a start to this role.
0-2 to 2-2. Contreras, another hot batter. Last 8 games, 12 for 28. It's a .429 batting average, 8 runs. And he's raised his batting average by 48 points from 196 to the current 244. 2-2 pitch. Rizzo on deck. See what Bauer offers up on the payoff. Do that one again. Three-two again. Fastball right down the middle. Suarez gobbles it up. 2 outs. 2 starts ago for Bauer, August 29th. It was Anthony Rizzo that touched up Trevor Bauer for 2 solo home runs. Bauer gave up 3 runs in 5 1/3 innings. And the last 2 times out for Bauer, at times the defense behind him has failed him, which has added to some frustration. Wind up in the 1-0. Rizzo showing bunt as the Reds giving him the left-hand side.
Yeah, that may give you a little bit of an idea how difficult it is to bunt a big league pitcher who's throwing 94, 95 miles an hour. A lot of people say, well, look at that. They're giving you all the left side of the infield. Why don't you just take an easy bunt? And Rizzo is a very good handler of the bat, and he fouled that one off. Didn't run out of the box, had good mechanics.
Rizzo will do this a bunch, too. Pull that ball. In fact, I was talking about where I would sit in years previous. You would always be on alert when Rizzo's up because no one pulls the ball more or harder than Rizzo. Everyone's like, heads up, Rizzo's up. He is out in front a lot. And that'll happen when you're right on the plate. Barnhart has room. And it's a 1-2-3 first for Trevor Bauer. With runners in scoring position in the National League this season, Trevor Bauer, Yu Darvish on the list with Wainwright and Nola. How about a 100 batting average for Bauer? 2 for 20 with runners in scoring position. Well, the Reds touched up Darvish for 3 in the first. See what they have for him in inning number 2. 8-9-1 for the Reds here in the second. And a first pitch ball to Freddie Galvis. I think the sirens are going off because Darvish gave up 3 first inning runs. They're not used to this of late. Ball and a strike on Galvis. So Bauer and Darvish have that connection, the numbers, the success here in 2020 and throughout their career. But you had mentioned the connection that they have beyond that, that the two, Bauer's a very, very big fan of Yu Darvish.
And has been really since he first came over from Japan. And just love the way that, you know, he watched Darvish pitch and all the different pitches that he would throw. He said that Darvish was ahead of his time as a pitcher because he practiced tunneling before it was a popular thing to do, which, you know, I don't think they ever called it tunneling before, but I think every pitching coach wanted you to do what Darvish does, which is throw out of the exact same spot and have pitches move in different directions. And he does that there with a high fastball to get Galvis.
The two have texted many times, and Bauer has gone as far to say that he knows his arsenal. Darvish is probably second only to Darvish. There's a 2013 strikeout montage of all of his strikeouts from that season, and Bauer says he had it memorized. He's memorized it. It's like a 7 or 8 minute video, and he can see it in my head. It was a big inspiration for me looking at his arsenal.
And they would text regularly back and forth to, you know, try to help Darvish, you know, get out of a little bit of a slump.
Last year, Darvish struggled out of the gates mightily. And he said, in the first half, I struggled with my command, and I texted Bauer a lot. And he gave me a lot of advice and a lot of things to try.
So it's only fate that would have these two pitchers bounce up against each other here the last couple of starts.
Yep. Bauer calls Darvish's cutter his anchor and a trap for hitters.
Well, right now it's the only pitch he's throwing over the plate consistently. Has not used much in the fastball, although he did get a strikeout of Suarez with that fastball. That cutter and the slider are the two main pitches that he's thrown.
1-2 to Barnhart. That was part of the advice from Bauer to throw the cutter more. He said when you can throw a 98 mile per hour fastball and then kick it down on your curveball into the 60 mile per hour range, that the cutter is a trap pitch, 85, 88 miles per hour. So the hitter can't sit slow, he can't sit fast. Just interesting stuff. And we're getting a lot of these quotes from an article written by Jesse Rogers, a well-done article. It was a fascinating read. Back-to-back strikeouts for Darvish here in the second, 3 overall. And now Votto. We talked first time Votto was up about these home and road splits. His home numbers jump out at you, just like the road numbers. On the road, just 081 coming into the game. At home, a 365 batter and a 1.172 OPS. It is like two different players. Has not driven in a single run on the road this season. Oh, 2 pitch. And here comes the 0-2 again. And you can hear that. When that heater's coming at you, man, it's like, oh.
Well, you know, that's one of the better things that you can do as a pitcher when you're ahead 0-2. You want to make the hitter uncomfortable. You don't want to throw up around his, his shoulders or his neck or his chin. So you throw down there around the, the shins or the ankles. He jumps out of the way. He's got to reset himself in the batter's box.
Classic example of move his feet. Right down the middle with the fastball. Middle of the second, 3-0 Reds.
A matchup with someone who's on a roll like he's on, and also someone that I respect and have looked up to for a long time. It's fun. It demands excellence, right? Like, I'm not going to be able to have a good start and win. I'm going to need an excellent start to win. So higher pressure, higher stakes, bigger consequences. That's what I live for.
Higher pressure, bigger consequences. That's what I look for. That's what you want to hear out of a starting pitcher. You can say what you will about Trevor Bauer. As far as a competitor goes, top shelf. Javier Baez wearing the 21 of Roberto Clemente tonight. And proudly so. I love to listen to the interviews that those of Puerto Rican descent were giving, wearing the number 21, and how much of a national hero Roberto Clemente was and is to this day. Ball and 2 strikes on Baez. Bauer have a lot of shakeoffs too. Maybe not as many as Darvish, but in that neighborhood. Strike 3 called. Paint job.
He had 2 pitches in that at bat that Baez did not like at all. The last one was definitely a strike. He thought he had a high strike called on a breaking pitch, but boy, Barnhart doesn't have to move his glove a millimeter for that one.
And that'll bring up Kyle Schwarber.
You know, it's interesting to watch when Bauer pitches is just from a posture standpoint. Look how firm and straight up and tall he is. I mean, he wants to make sure that he uses his body as efficiently as possible. He uses his core, has a very short arm swing, and the only pitcher around that I can see that does it anywhere near like Bauer is Lucas Sims. And he gets that right hand out of his glove. I mean, it is up and ready behind his ear very quickly and very efficiently.
Popped up. This will be Galvis in the shift. He dropped it. Oh boy. And Schwarber, credit him for running. He's at second base.
It looked like, I don't know whether he lost it or whether there's a little bit of wind blowing, because he's kind of drifting around and now actually went up with two hands, a good old-fashioned way, and still dropped it.
It is not your typical windy night in Chicago. Certainly not as windy as it was last night. And that's where he should be, at second base. Wasn't running on a sprint, but he was still running it out.
He probably hasn't done that in 10 years.
See the flags, the wind not nearly like it was last night. Temperatures in the low 60s in Chicago. Body language, facial expression tells it all. Probably can't believe that just happened. Reds don't have a ton of errors overall. 5th fewest in the National League, but when they've happened, they have been stinging. 22 unearned runs allowed, 2nd most in the National League. So when they've happened, the other team has made them pay. Two balls and a strike on the switch hitting Victor Caratini. Well, Bauer will have to get 4 outs here in the second. Another pop up. This time Suarez just in fair territory. 2 outs. And here's Jason Heyward. An even 300 batter, 5 home runs, 17 RBIs, and a .415 on base percentage. Good numbers from the 7 spot. At least in this game, batting 7th. Yeah, Bodie behind him, who's got 22 RBIs.
Well, Heyward was one of the hottest Cubs hitters until he left the game on Sunday with lightheadedness. In fact, he went right to the hospital, had shortness of breath, and he was cleared to pinch hit yesterday. And is in the starting lineup again, but I mean, he was really tearing up the baseball here over the last 12 games.
Heyward normally wears number 22, 21 tonight. Last 12 games, 14 for 35, 7 extra base hits, .511 on base percentage. Cubs are 6-4 overall in their last 10 games after shutting out the Reds last night. One-two pitch. Check to third. No. It's Todd Tishner at third base.
Hayward broke into the league when he was 20 years old with the Atlanta Braves, and what a great player he was. They thought he would be around and be a Brave for a long, long time. Ended up with the Cardinals in 2015 at age 25. They had him for 1 year, and then the Cubs signed him to a very long, very huge contract. He'll be a free agent 2024. And his first year over here with Chicago was not good at all.
Yeah.
I mean, his home run and power numbers went way down. Batting average was at the low point of his entire career, was all the way down to 230. Little by little, he's come back. He had 21 home runs last year.
Payoff pitch. Strike three called. A beauty of a pitch. Bauer works around the air. 3-0 Reds. Here in the top of the third against Yu Darvish. And it is our.
And we showed you what you should look for from Yu Darvish if you're a left-handed hitter. If you're a right-handed hitter, a little bit different. He'll still throw some sliders, but he'll also mix in a first pitch fastball. When he throws his fastball to right-handers, a lot of times he likes to keep that baby inside, and he'll also throw that little splitter down and in with 2 strikes on the right-handed hitter.
It's called a splitzilla by the guy that's joining us again tonight. That would be the all-time saves leader in Reds history, Daniel Graves.
Splitzilla. Wish I had a Splitzilla. It's pretty nasty.
You didn't throw a splitter, did you, Gravy?
No, my fingers weren't long enough. I couldn't get my fingers around the ball, unfortunately.
You may have saved yourself some elbow injuries that way.
Yeah,
then.
You're right about that. I thankfully never had any elbow issues.
Castellanos, right field. Backs up Hayward towards the track. 1 out. When you had a sinker like Graves, didn't need that Splitzilla.
It's just power sinker. One of the that was always a pitch I'd like to see. I mean, he was throwing that power sinker. Gravy was back when they measured it differently. I mean, 92 to 94, down around the knees. I mean,
man, you
guys did not like to try to elevate that pitch.
You guys make me feel like I can still play or something.
Well, that's what happens when you look like you can still play.
Yeah.
I'm hiding a lot under this suit that I'm wearing,
First pitch to Jesse Winker. Winker walked in the first. It was back-to-back walks given up by Darvish to Castellanos and Winker ahead of Moustakas' 3-run home run. And the first time this year that Darvish had walked 2 batters in an inning. Drew a lot of walks last night and nothing to show for it.
I wonder if this will be a little, maybe the opposite of what we saw last night. Alec Mills, the first time through the order, threw nothing but fastballs. Second time through, he came with breaking pitches. Darvish, the first time through a lot of breaking pitches, cutters and sliders. And now to, Joey Votto, second time through fastball after fastball, threw fastballs to Castellanos, who finally hit a fly ball to right field, and has kept the heater on Jesse Winker.
Oh, 2 pitch.
Yeah, notice that he snuck a couple fastballs that first time through the lineup, especially that one with 2 strikes to Suarez.
Suarez, he got one, yeah.
Yeah, but then you're right, Chris. Now he's already pitching backwards, so to speak, as he was the first time through the lineup.
Now the 1-2.
And there's no doubt that he calls his own game. Did you also call your own game out there, Gravy?
I did, yeah. You know, I always felt like, I mean, there was times that I would rely on the catcher if I was unsure of what to go with. But I'd say 99% of the time I wanted to call my own pitches because you have to have conviction of what you're throwing. And if you're going to throw what somebody else wants you to throw, you're not going to throw it with that same conviction and confidence.
1-2 again.
I had a catcher named Steve Swisher, and he came out to me one time. I kept shaking him off, and he was adamant that he wanted a certain pitch. And I said, Swish, I don't want to throw that pitch. He says, if you don't throw the pitch I want, I'm going to tell him what's coming.
Oh, my gosh.
I said, okay.
Crash Davis.
Yeah.
You win.
Yeah.
Should have told him it's not your ERA, it's mine.
He was Crash Davis before Crash Davis, believe me.
And Winker into left field. 2 outs.
It's a good at-bat by Winker. He's had 2 good at-bats against Darvish and hit that ball right on the button.
You see the reaction there. It's almost like he told Darvish that was a good battle right there.
Yep.
Because it really was. I mean, he was right on the fastball and he fought off a couple good pitches and really good at bat right there.
2-out batter, Eugenio Suarez. And with no one on this time, the Cubs will employ the shift on Suarez. They didn't do it the first time up with a couple on, but you look at the defense. Opponents have used a defensive shift against Suarez on 94% of his plate appearances this season. That's tied for highest in Major League Baseball. And normally we're talking about a left-handed batter in that category. But 94% of the time, they shift on him as a righty. Hitters count. Two and one.
You know, I don't see colored blue or green sometimes very well. Like, that's honestly, like, I'm colorblind with that. But that's a green glove, right, that Darvish has?
Does have kind of a, at least on our monitor here, a greenish tint.
Wonder why.
Very good question. Inquiring minds want to know.
I've been dying to know.
The things you sit and think about at night.
Well, you know, you can use any color glove you want, except white as a pitcher, and it has to be of the same color. You can't have different colored piping and different colored, you know, fingers and webbing and so on to be distracted to the hitter.
I had a red, white, and blue Rawlings glove when I was a kid, and I loved it so much up into high school, and then they wouldn't allow me to use it, so I spray painted it red, the color of our team.
So did the ball turn red?
A little bit at first, yeah. So I spray painted that bad boy red so I could still use it.
I did that to my car in college.
To your car?
Yeah.
Swing and a miss. Middle of the third, 3-0 Reds. Goodwin center, Castellanos in right. Suarez on the hot corner. Galvis at shortstop, Moustakas second base. Votto and Barnhart round out the infield for the Reds. 2 innings of scoreless baseball so far from Trevor Bauer. As the Cubs yet to get a hit off the righty. David Bote will lead off for the Cubs. Bote, Vargas, Happ due up for the Cubs here in the third. 22 RBIs for David Bote. Ian Happ with 24. So we're talking about a lot of production out of the 8 spot. Two-one pitch. 2-2. Two-two offering from Bauer. Boy, he's got that outside corner just painted tonight.
He's got such a quick arm that you really have no time to react at all. And if you hesitate at all, if you think that pitch may have a chance of being outside, has just a little bit of comeback action. And you're right about him being right on the edges. That's where you want to live if you can do it.
And that whole at bat, with the fastball, he went 90, 92, and then 95 with a little bit of movement on that last pitch. That's tough to judge, especially as a hitter looking for other pitches that Trevor Bauer has.
Ildemaro Vargas. Vargas, the batter for the Cubs. One of your newer Cubs. Claimed off of waivers from Minnesota on Saturday. Added to the Major League roster on Monday. 190 batter. He's appeared in 18 games with Minnesota and Arizona here in 2020. It's just his 43rd at bat of the season.
I think he's 29 years old, and so he's been around a little bit. Not much in the major leagues. Most of his playing time came with the Diamondbacks, and his numbers are not all that bad offensively. Utility player, plays all around the infield, switch hitter. Popped 6 home runs for the D-backs last year in 92 games. Drove in 24.
Tonight's his 137th Major League game.
It doesn't strike out much.
This will be Moustakas. 2 outs. So one time through the lineup for Bauer. Not a hit. 4 strikeouts. Has not walked a batter. And back to the top of the order, Ian Happ.
David Bell feeling what it's like to have a lead. Been a little while, it seems like, and since he's had the luxury of having a 3-run lead, especially on the Cubs early in a ball game.
Bauer struck out Happ back in the first. Happ has now struck out 4 of his last 5 plate appearances in this series.
And Happ's a pretty good fastball hitter too, and I was very impressed really last night with the way Tyler Mahle threw the baseball. But there are fastballs, and then there are 4-seamers that have lives of their own, and Mahle's has one. We talked about that last night, and Bauer as well. I mean, Bauer has spin rate off the charts on his fastball, just never does sink.
Two-one pitch. 2-2. Bauer's had success at Wrigley Field. No earned runs in 13 innings pitched. And 2 career starts coming in. 2-0 record. The luck was a little different in the World Series. Those are regular season numbers. But overall, against the Cubs in the regular season, 4-1 record and a 1.41 ERA to go along with those numbers at Wrigley. Happ did all he could just to foul that one off.
And Chris, when you talked about how Tyler pitched Ian Happ so well last night, there's a fine line with that high fastball, right? When Tyler or even Trevor get it at the top of the zone, it's unhittable. But sometimes when they get it way too high, it doesn't really have any effect.
You're right. That's why I always thought, Danny, that it's very difficult to pitch to both ends of the strike zone in the same game, unless you really have one of those games where things are just going great for you. I mean, if you're a pitcher that pitches down, you get used to being 2 or 3 inches below the knees and you can hit that spot all night, then all of a sudden they say, all right, now throw one at the very top of the zone, and it's really hard to get to.
2-2 again. Appeal, ring him up. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Trevor Bauer. It's in the 4th, and he is the difference in this one. First inning, taking Yu Darvish deep. StatCast powered by Google Cloud. Give us the numbers. 401 feet. More importantly, 3 across the plate. And we'll just throw that ball up into the basket.
With the tarp out there in right field, the ball bounced back into the field. It would have ended up back in the field anyway, even if,
absolutely.
The bleachers were full, right?
Would have ended up probably in the infield. Depending on who caught it, of course. There's a lot of pressure. I have a lot of respect for the fans that don't throw it back. Because how often are you going to catch a home run ball in a Major League Baseball game?
Or the ones that bring a Little League Baseball, an old one, and throw that one back and keep the home run ball.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a veteran.
That is a veteran move. And those ones out on Waveland and Sheffield outside of the ballpark do that same thing. They keep the ball that's hit out there and they throw an old one back into the stadium.
The one that the dogs chewed on.
Those are your true veterans, the ones that are waiting out there. Yeah. Those are the true veterans out there in Waveland, Sheffield. And I imagine they're hanging out there tonight.
I was going to say
not allowed in the stadium, but I'm sure you're allowed. I don't know, perhaps. The Cubs pretty much own that neighborhood now. Maybe they shut that down. I don't know. We're not there, but
there's some.
Across the street, rooftops are open. I don't see Tom Browning in there anywhere. A lot of blue. One-two pitch to Moustakas. Rizzo will take it himself. One down. Here we are in the top of the 4th, and normally by this time, Yu Darvish has worn out many people in his slow and deliberate pitching. Hasn't seemed that bad tonight, or am I just imagining things?
No, and normally when you watch Darvish, I mean, he's anywhere from 25 to 35, 40 seconds between pitches, and he doesn't like to be told to speed it up. I mean, he says that, he wants to concentrate on every pitch. There is a rule on the books in the official baseball rules that says that the pitcher has 12 seconds to deliver the baseball. But the clock starts when the pitcher has the ball and the batter is in the batter's box ready to hit. And if the batter calls timeout, then all bets are off. And if there's a runner on base, all bets are off.
Well, 12 seconds, he breaks that all the time. Why is that rule not enforced?
Well, because nobody complains about it, number one. And it's really
besides broadcasters.
12 seconds is really fast, though. Like, that's almost impossible to get back up on the mound and pitch with any kind of thought process going. You know, I know Wade Miley works faster than just about anybody in baseball, and he's probably not under 15 seconds.
Well, at one time they had considered putting a pitch clock in with that 12 seconds would be starting, you know, but the question is, when do you start it? When is that batter in the batter's box ready to hit? When is that pitcher on the mound? Now, right now, we have another monitor, so Akiyama's in the box. So now it would be up to Darvish to deliver the pitch in 12 seconds. But what if the 12-second clock went off in the middle of the windup? So they decided they didn't want to split hairs there and disrupt the game, so they didn't put that pitch clock in. The pitch clock that we had in spring training this year
20, wasn't it?
Was, I think, from inning to inning.
Yeah. So the clock wouldn't start until he gets on the rubber?
No, when the batter's in the batter's box, if the pitcher has the ball.
That's too confusing.
And that's why it's not enforced. So you may ask yourself, all right, well, how can a home plate umpire, I mean, do all these different things, including run a stopwatch? Well, he wouldn't be the guy with the stopwatch. Usually the second base umpire has the stopwatch. And oftentimes in big league level, one of the other umpires also has the stopwatch. And while they have their hand in their pocket, they may be starting and stopping that watch over and over again.
Meanwhile, pretty good battle with Akiyama and Darvish. Chopper. This will be a tough play. Rizzo not in time. That was a nice job by Rizzo to flip it like he was an option quarterback. But Akiyama can get down the line as the Cubs will take a look.
You know what really helps Akiyama? He's kind of running out of the box when he swings. So he gets a great jump, and that helps saves him at least a half a step down the first baseline.
A little bit of an extra second to get a grip on the ball for Rizzo might have been the difference.
Well, and Darvish didn't touch the base on the first attempt either.
Yep.
That's a tough play, obviously, for pitchers, because if you don't get the ball early from the first baseman, you're going to have to try to catch the ball and touch the base at the same time. And that's pretty much almost impossible to do unless it's luck. Right, Chris? I mean, that's the PFPs that you work on in spring training.
I am so glad you said that. Because people who've never tried it don't realize how hard it is. He's on the base. The question is, did the ball hit any of a part of his glove? This is going to be very close as they review this in New York.
It's about as close as it can get, and he is out. Goes down as a 3-1 put out.
Now even a better play by Rizzo.
Yeah, no doubt.
And
Darvish.
Oh, those pitchers are great athletes.
Well, we've heard that phrase in the last 2 nights.
Oh, did I say that last night,
Hold on,
too?
let me mark it down. The pitchers union has chimed in.
I did. That's right, because there was a great play made by the pitcher. Tyler Mahle made a great play.
Now 2 outs and nobody on. Brian Goodwin looks at one up high.
You know, I wonder, you guys are talking about Darvish taking so much time in between pitches. I wonder if he's quicker right now because he's trailing, and he hasn't trailed much this year. So he's always been in control of the whole game. Maybe he's just trying to get the offense back out there.
Well, he has flat out gotten mad at people telling him to speed up. You ever have teammates tell you to speed up, or you didn't have that problem, did you?
No, I couldn't wait to get back on the mound. I wanted to get it over with, man.
2-0 pitch. Then you got guys that will like throw over to first base 17 times. Not going to mention any names. Chris Welsh.
You don't have to.
You know, Paul Wilson had a problem with that too. If he threw over once, he had to do it at least 2 or 3 more times.
Two, 1 pitch.
I really think that if right-handed pitchers could see the look on the runner's eyes, they would throw over a lot more. Because it's like trying to read a poker face, whether he's going or not.
3-1 pitch. And Goodwin draws a 2-out walk. MLB app is the only place to get all your baseball action, in-game video highlights, breaking news, player updates, and more. Download the MLB app today, the official app of Major League Baseball.
Well, I can admit to you guys now that I never threw to first unless it came from the bench because I hated throwing to first to try to pick somebody off.
Really?
Yeah, it's just I was so afraid I was going to balk or throw it into the stands. And
I think a lot more right-handed pitchers than you think feel the same way.
Runner going and throw off line. And Goodwin is in scoring position.
What a huge jump by Goodwin. I mean, he didn't wait at all. He went on a first pitch that he got on first base. Darvish is one that does like to throw over quite a bit. In fact, I read today where he leads the league in throwovers. I think he's thrown over 29 times so far this year. And Goodwin gets a bag.
Darvish had retired 9 straight before walking Goodwin.
I'll tell you, it would make Freddie Galvis feel a lot better if he could dump a base hit in right here, drive a run in. Even though his drop pop-up really meant nothing in the big scheme of things, he's still carrying it with him.
Goodwin now with 5 steals, tie for the team lead in stolen bases, and he's been a Red just for a minute. 3 walks now for Darvish. He hadn't walked more than 2 batters in any of his last 26 starts. Had only 20 total walks in those 26 starts. He avoids the walk here. It's 3-1 to Freddie Galvis.
That shows you what great confidence he has on that little cutter, that he throws it on a 3-0 count, because I think he controls it better than he does his fastball.
3-1.
so you probably got to be looking for that right now then, right? If that's all he can throw for a strike. I mean, initially thought he was pitching around Galvis with first base open, but then he came back with 2 strikes.
Same pitch, same spot. Oh, no, that's a beauty.
Not
Comeback
fair.
action on the fastball. From Trevor Bauer here tonight so far, 5 strikeouts.
2 each of the last couple of innings, and he's done it on a variety of pitches. He's done it on the fastball, blazing it right by them. He's done it on a very hard breaking pitch tonight. Ian Happ didn't like it, but that was strike 3, and he looks like a man on a mission.
I always love the contemplation or the psyching himself up for each inning, as we just saw right there. Got some goose eggs on that line. 49 pitches as he enters inning number 4. He'll face 2, 3, and 4 in the Cubs lineup. First pitch to Wilson Contreras is a breaking ball for a called strike. Contreras grounded out his first time up. Oh, and 2. Wind up in the 0-2 pitch. I get that a lot at home when I suggest something. No. 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 Timeout. A lot of people can relate out there. And that hits Contreras. Breaking ball got away. As we welcome you into the Fox Sports Ohio studios, he's Chris Welsh. Across the way is Danny Graves, the baby-faced assassin, looking like he could still pitch.
I don't feel like it, but thanks.
Glad to have you, and glad you all have joined us out there on this Wednesday night. Nothing much better than taking in Reds baseball. Reds versus the Cubs, eh?
And we get to just talk about it, right?
Yeah.
How was Wrigley Field for you, Danny? Did you like it over there with the friendly confines?
I did. I really did. I enjoyed the fans there. I like to play around with them and joke around with them, and we had a good time there. And obviously, a lot of day games back then, and as a player, you don't really like too many of those. But yeah, just the aura there was pretty special.
I don't know what it was like when you were there, but I loved how thick the infield grass was at Wrigley. I mean, you couldn't hit a ground ball that would even make it to the outfield grass. It was so thick.
Yes, that was great. And it was still thick when I was playing. The only part of the field I didn't like, though, and I know we talked about the bullpens a little bit yesterday, I didn't like how slanted the grass was going into the dugout.
Yeah.
So once you got across the foul line, it was like you're going straight downhill.
Same thing behind home plate.
Oh, my gosh.
Those catchers take the mask off, and you feel like you're trying to catch the ball downhill.
Yeah, and it's you got to really take baby steps to get down it. But I always loved going there, and of course the city is just pretty amazing.
No balls and 2 strikes on Anthony Rizzo. The hit by pitch, only the second base runner for the Cubs. The first was via error. Rizzo right on top of the plate.
Watch out, Jim Day.
Yeah.
I heard you talking about that earlier.
I'm serious. It's like anyone that was over there in that camera well, particularly the photographers. You know, I can sit and watch, but the photographers with looking into their lens, it's a dangerous situation. And we took care of each other. It's like, hey, Rizzo's up. Heads up. Heads up all the time on every pitch, but particularly when this guy's up there. Peel down to third, no.
And of course, Chicago had great shopping too, right? Or did you guys not go shopping when you were there? I'm a shopper.
Michigan Avenue.
That's right.
I've done some shopping there. I'm not going to.
I think we all have. Come back a little lighter in the wallet because of that.
Oh, yeah.
A lot lighter in the wallet. Strike 3 called. Again, that outside corner. Bauer's been living there tonight, whether it be righty or lefty.
Here, Gravy made a great point about he seems like he saves his best fastballs for that 2-strike count. But that ball actually looked like it rose as it came out of his hand.
Yeah, that's the explosion at the end of that fastball, that riding fastball. And, you know, during pregame, during the Gravy's recipe, one of the things that I mentioned was to finish off the hitters. To me, Trevor Bauer, when he's at his best, is not going 0-2 and then 3-2. 0-2, 1-2 maybe, and then putting him away, and he's done that tonight. Like, attacked him, and you can tell some of these hitters are maybe guessing that he's going to throw it out of the strike zone.
You know, I think that a lot of that comes with an attitude too, where, you know, if you can dominate them on the first 2 pitches, why not just dominate them on pitch number 3-2?
Oh, 1 pitch. .60 pitches now for Bauer. And the 1-1 to Baez. Swing and a miss.
I mean, when you get 2 strikes on Baez, you can just go further and further and further. He's going to eventually swing at it, right?
Couldn't have hit that with a boat oar.
That's the same pitch he threw to start the at-bat and then to finish the at-bat.
You know, I'm wondering why he's so far off the plate if he does that. I mean, he doesn't really bail that much, but he wails. And he really cuts it loose. But I'm wondering if he's ever experimented just standing right on top of the plate like Rizzo does and give him a little better shot at that. Maybe pitch him in all day long. He doesn't like to be jammed.
Well, to me, that's why he doesn't stand on the plate, because he doesn't want to get jammed. You know, he stands so far off the plate. Jeff Kent was another one that stood so far off the plate, but he wanted the ball out over the plate so he can dive into it, and that's kind of what Baez does. He dives into the pitches.
Dandy of a breaking ball. 0-2 on Schwarber. Chirping coming from the Cubs dugout on that strike call.
What's new?
Oh, 2 pitch. What a block by Barnhart. Goodness.
How did he do that?
I'm not sure even he knows in this instance. We're so used to him. Textbook blocks. That was a tough one. And it keeps the runner at first base. Travers takes his lead from first, and the 1-2 pitch. 3 straight strikeouts for Trevor Bauer.
I've never seen 21 that close, because I you know, Lorenzen has that number, but I don't get to like hold it right there close to me, and that number for us, it means so much. So I think I stared at the jersey for a good 5 minutes without saying a word.
Jose De Leon talking about what many of Puerto Rican descent playing Major League Baseball today and what Roberto Clemente means to them, as this is Roberto Clemente Day throughout Major League Baseball, and said he was giddy to see number 21 in his locker. Talked about how much of a national hero that Clemente still is, idolized by his parents, his grandparents. And when he got the call that Nate Jones was going on the paternity list, one of the first things he thought was, I'm going to be able to wear 21 on Roberto Clemente Day.
Wow.
Timing, as they say, crucial. The Reds coming off of a trip Pittsburgh. And he said, I couldn't believe it. I didn't know where the statue was. I knew Roberto Clemente's statue was somewhere, and here I come. I wanted to walk across the Roberto Clemente Bridge. That goal achieved, and then said I had to take a selfie in front of the statue. The great one. One down.
Well, Darvish mixing it up a little bit now. He got the strikeout of Galvis on a fastball. He goes after Barnhart with a breaking pitch. I mean, basically for Darvish, I mean, he has walked 3 batters, which is unusual for him, but he's only made 1 bad pitch, that hanging breaking ball to Mike Moustakas, the difference in this ball game.
Walks will haunt, Chris.
Well, you're not kidding. Tyler Mahle walked 1 last night, hit 1 batter, and both of those guys came around to score.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that scoreboard that back there at Riverfront. Synergy Field when you played there, Danny.
Yeah,
But
that's just because it was supposed to be called that. It's still Riverfront to me.
It actually, yeah, it's now Riverfront then and forevermore. But
that's right.
that scoreboard, walks will haunt. In simpler times when we had simpler graphics.
That's right, yep.
We got big HD
The
scoreboards.
same, the same person that came up with that graphic that walks will haunt, I think invented Pong. Because it was about the same level of, I don't know, simplicity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you can see all the pores in your face if they put you on the big screen.
Believe me, I know. Scaring people when they put me on something like that. But Pong, you youngsters out there, just Google it.
Yeah, they have no idea what that is.
Just Google it. You'll be like,
that's a game?
Yeah. Attention span would be about 30 seconds on that game, bro. But we wore that thing out. That's all we had.
Yep.
0-2 to Votto.
Yeah, Joey didn't like that. I can see why. That ball looked like it was going to be just a little bit outside. Never did get on the plate.
That is 8 strikeouts for Darvish, 3 in a row. And the second time that Votto's been punched out. And here's Castellanos. He has been a streaky hitter this season for the Reds and on one of the downward turns right now. 3 for his last 31. Although he did walk in the first, which was crucial. He was on base when Moustakas blasted the 3-run home run. .1-0 pitch. Hard hit ball, but right at Baez. Middle of the 5th. 3-0 Cincinnati. With special appearances by Reds Hall of Fame inductee Marty Brennaman. Already in the National Baseball Hall of Fame. Visit a participating Kroger location to meet the Hall of Famer and receive a free baseball card set thanks to Cons and a team calendar thanks to Kroger. For locations and hours, visit reds.com/Kroger. Nice that they're keeping Marty busy.
They are. I think they got him a Pope Mobile to drive around in. Tooling through the streets of Anderson.
That parade wave. We're going to pay for that. At least you are.
You know he's not driving. I mean, he's always in the passenger seat anyway.
Asleep.
Oh, you're asking for it now, Jim Day.
Oh, it doesn't. You know what? I don't even have to tee him up. It doesn't matter. It's coming anyways. Well, here's Trevor Bauer, and he is He has had some special stuff tonight.
You know, I think, Gravy, and I'd love to hear your opinion on this. I think a lot of people feel like, hey, had great stuff tonight. It means, you know, you had a blazing fastball or a hard breaking pitch. To me, it was always being able to throw the ball exactly where I wanted to on that night.
Yeah, and that's kind of what he's doing tonight, right? Because if you think about it, he always has nasty stuff and really good stuff. It's just a matter of throwing it where he wants to. Tonight he's been able to do that, and that's why he's getting a lot of these strikeouts early in the count without going 3-2 a lot of times like he has in the past.
Yeah, instead of being just off the plate, he's right on the corner.
Right.
Base hit, and that is the first hit off of Bauer here tonight, and it comes in the 5th.
Not only the first hit off of Bauer, but the first hit that went into the outfield.
Yeah.
He hasn't even had an out in the outfield.
In the 4th, he struck out Javier Baez to tie Johnny Cueto for the most strikeouts through the first 8 appearances. He then struck out Kyle Schwarber. He owns the record all by his lonesome once again. 69 strikeouts through the first 8 appearances. And when you get a Noodles Hahn reference, it's good night. And anytime you can talk about the great Jim Maloney. First pitch to Hayward, right at the knees.
You know, even that hit that he just gave up, he threw it where he wanted to, and that was just a good piece of hitting by Caratini.
Oh, 1 pitch. Right at Votto. That's a double play.
Love those.
Hit hard. But an atom ball and a double play.
Boy, thank goodness you have a runner at first base right there, because otherwise that ball goes down the line, at least 2. And that's one of those where you're like, whew, thank you very much.
And you know, that's why late in the game, Welsh, maybe you can explain this. Why don't teams do no doubles anymore?
I guess the hit charts show that guys don't hit them down the line very much.
Man, I remember always coming in the game asking Casey and Aaron Boone, hug the lines if they don't tell them to hug the lines. Rather give up the single than a double.
Mm-hmm.
.75 pitch mark for Bauer. 2 outs into the 5th. Two and 1 the count on David Bodie.
Seems like sometimes Bauer, when he throws that little cutter and slider, it's like a wiffle ball. Like, how does he get it to move so much?
It's amazing.
And now the 2-1. On the ground, Suarez has it. Danny, we'll see you on the post-game show, my friend. Thanks
Yes,
again
sir.
for the visit. Easy to place your order online and pick up at the store. Try it today at Kroger.com. And by Ford, visit buyfordnow.com. Back in the Windy City, Yu Darvish, outside of the first inning, has pitched scoreless baseball. And if you're just joining us, it was a three-run home run off the bat of Mike Moustakas in inning number 1. And second time they've gotten to Darvish. Look at his 14 starts. Read 7 earned runs in 18 innings pitched. Rest of Major League Baseball, 12 earned runs in over 71 innings. They got to him for 4 earned runs in a game last year. That is Baez in the shift, retiring Winker for out number 1.
Well, the game has really gone the way that we thought it would at the very onset. You had 2 pitchers who are on top of their games, throwing the ball really well. Darvish, in the Cy Young conversation. Trevor Bauer, leaders, down in earned run average and strikeouts and batting average against, a lot of those other categories. So, in a year in which pitching has dominated hitting anyway, you figured this game would be just like that. But one bad pitch, a 3-run home run, is the difference right now. And finally, it's on the scoreboard for the Reds instead of the other way around.
Absolutely. Suarez 0 for 2. He has struck out both times up. One looking, one swinging.
Well, there's really not a lot of mystery as to the way the Cubs and every other team really are pitching to Eugenio Suarez right now. I mean, he's just not committed to that pitch on the outer part of the plate. They're just peppering it on that outside corner.
Caratini sets up outside again, but he will go inside with it. Catches the inside corner, 1-2.
Accidentally.
The 1-2. 2 outs. That's 9 of them now for Darvish. A couple of strikeout machines here tonight. Darvish with 9. Bauer with 8. And here's Moustakas, the difference in this game so far.
Yeah, he had a little bit of experience against Darvish coming into this ball game. Was 4 for 14. Had hit a home run and had driven in 2 against Darvish. Now make it 2 home runs and 5 RBI.
'97th pitch of the game from Darvish. Comeback action on that fastball. Now the 0-1. Jam job. Charging is Bodie offline, and Moustakas is safe. Off balance throw from David Bodie. And the Reds have a 2-out base runner.
Looked like a little jam shot right there, and Bodie really probably doesn't have to rush as much as he did and ends up making the throw offline. Or Rizzo nearly makes that play.
Might have made it. In fact,
well, he is awfully good around the bag.
In fact, they're going to take a look at this. Ron Kulpa, your crew chief and first base umpire tonight. On the horn to New York. Rizzo, I think, just looked at the replay.
If his foot's on the bag, he's obviously out. I don't know if he's got maybe even a cleat in contact with the base.
Right there you can see the I've told myself I'm not guessing anymore.
And that's what it would be, too, a guess.
Yeah. You can see the big board that the players are looking at, and Rizzo studying it, even giving a little body English there, and he is out.
How about that?
What a play.
telecast is presented by authority of the Cincinnati Reds and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Hello, TJ Antone. I'd recognize that big league beard anywhere. Not a particularly windy night in the Windy City. Saw wind play a part in last night's game. Bottom of the 6th. Trevor Bauer pitching a gem. Giving up 1 hit, no runs, 8 strikeouts.
Yeah, and for having 8 strikeouts, his pitch count is really under control.
Facing 9-1-2 in the Cubs order. Got a lefty Osich warming up for the Cubs. Ball and 2 strikes on Vargas. Grounded out in the 3rd. 9 of them.
I'll tell you, that's such a nasty breaking ball tonight. Has great command of that pitch. I mean, it's just rolling right off the table here.
Classic 12-6 on that one.
I mean, that's as good as it gets. If you want to, take a snapshot, make a GIF of one of the best breaking balls ever, that would be one of them. I mean, right over the top, you can see the exceptional spin rate on that pitch, nice axis, and got the result he wanted. Usually pitchers that strike out a lot of hitters, I mean, they run those pitch counts way up there, and Bauer's just being very efficient with his strikeouts tonight. I mean, he's usually good for anywhere from, 108 to 115 pitches.
Now a quick message from La Rosas.
Every game this year, 11 strikeouts means a $1,000 donation to the Reds Community Fund.
2 strikeouts away from that. Got 1,000 large last night as Malley struck out 10 himself. Stevenson struck out a batter. Trevor Bauer. Filthy.
I mean, right now, Trevor Bauer has got to be standing on that pitcher's mound thinking, you know what? They cannot hit me, period. I can throw whatever I want. They can't hit this stuff. And boy, what a pleasure it must be to be sitting behind the plate like Tucker Barnhart is. I mean, he's just giving a sign and knowing he's going to have to catch the pitch because they're not making contact. Although once you start getting, a little bit too happy, you realize it's only a 3-run game, and you're a walk, a bloop, and a blast from a tie ball game.
Want to know the count on Wilson Contreras. That breaking ball upstairs. 1-1.
I started a series of tech talks with Trevor Bauer, and I got to tell you, I learned so much from this young man about pitching, things that I've been around the game a long time that I did not know, and he's so good at breaking it down. I would love to take that to the next level and talk about how do you put better spin on your pitches? How do you put better backspin on your fastball? What is a good axis for a breaking pitch? How do you shape a ball the way you want to shape it? I mean, these are the things that he has just studied so hard and excelled in. And it's also the reason the Reds went out and recruited and then signed Kyle Bodie, the creator of Driveline, to help them figure out a way to make all their young pitchers better.
Mm-hmm.
Teach the coaches to teach the players.
2-2 pitch. Travis lays off, full count. Yeah, we showed up to spring camp and it was like showing up to NASA. All the equipment that was around that they use nowadays for their pitchers. Impressive stuff.
And I don't think I even expected to see any difference this year. I think this is kind of a long-term project that'll pay, better dividends every year, every time you get a new crop of young pitchers in there that you can teach. And I think what it'll do is we'll give you more prospects per draft than ever before.
Yeah.
Because guys would just normally fall out because they weren't able to coach themselves into becoming A-ball players, the AA players, the AAA players. Some of them need more coaching than others, and I think that's the method there.
3-2 again. Popped up. A 1-2-3-6 for Trevor Bauer, pitching shutout baseball tonight. Available now. Jackpot is over $18,000. It's a rolling jackpot. It will continue till the last game of the regular season. You can log online, purchase at reds5050.com. Must be 18 and older and in the state of Ohio to purchase. Well, Yu Darvish's night is done, as David Ross will send out lefty Josh Osich, he tried to say.
32 years old, Osich, primarily a guy that pitched with the Giants for the majority of his career, broke into the big leagues at age 26. Was with the White Sox last year, pitched a lot, pitched in 57 games for the Southsiders. And this year acquired from the Boston Red Sox.
Oh, 1 to Shogo. One out.
Looked like a little either cutter or slider right there. Maybe just kind of a ball that he stayed on the side of and ran it away from Akiyama.
That single by Akiyama in the first. And he got to second on the air on the play. That was the last hit for the Reds. Besides that one swing of the bat, it has been all pitching. 2 down in the 7th. At every home game, if a Reds batter hits the Toyota hit and win sign, lucky fan will win a brand new Toyota Tundra. Visit your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers today and register to win. Two-out batter Freddie Galvis. First time hitting from the right-hand side tonight. Line drive, base hit. First hit since the first. And the batter's Tucker Barnhart. Ball was stung. 107 miles per hour off the bat. A lot of strikeouts in the scorebook tonight on both sides.
You know, the advantage of having a lead like the Reds do right here is that you don't feel tempted at all to pinch hit a right-handed hitter for Tucker Barnhart here, lefty on lefty. He doesn't see too many left-handed pitchers, at least as starters. But you would never dare to take him out of the ball game right now, upset the mojo that Bauer and Barnhart have going right now on the defensive side. $16 more to tie a record.
That's a record for lefties and righties, right? I mean, you're pointing it out that the lefty.
I actually don't know if it is a record, but should be if it's not.
I can't imagine anyone throwing over more.
All right, they were hanging out of the bleachers booing me, and that was at home. Family and friends. The only people that liked the 17 throwovers were the concessionaires.
Yeah.
Sold a lot of popcorn, peanuts, and beer during my outings.
What year was that?
1986.
Like, who's this Welsh guy? He's from Cincinnati? What? Caratini keeps it close enough that Galvis holds tight at first. From Cincinnati. I'll boo him anyways. Let's go.
It may not have only been the fans either. I think my own teammates, I heard something from behind me.
I bet. Reds are done in the 7th. Stretch time at Wrigley. On this one, Reds Live, the postgame show presented by Performance Kings Honda. Brian Giesenslaw, Danny Graves doing the honors tonight. And so far it has been fun to watch Trevor Bauer. 6 innings of scoreless baseball. 10 strikeouts. He'll enter the 7th with 91 pitches.
One of our favorite graphics right here. We're going to see all the strikeouts from Trevor Bauer. 4 on the 4-seam, 1 on the sinker, 2 on the cutter, and the blue one, the knuckle curve.
Wow, he's getting him to chase. Meat of the order here. Rizzo, Baez, Schwarber due up in the 7th. Now the Reds have no action in their pen. Bauer's given them no reason to. 93 pitches manageable for him.
Boy, every time a Cubs hitter has looked up, he's down in the count 0-2, 1-2. I mean, this is a lesson on how to get ahead of hitters and put them away.
There has not been a runner to reach third base against Bauer. Schwarber's the only one that has touched second base, and that came via error. Bauer's hit a batter, has not walked a single batter. Count now 2-2 on Rizzo. Bauer calls off Barnhart. One down. And that'll bring up Javier Baez. Struggles against the Reds continue for Baez here in 2020. A couple of strikeouts in as many plate appearances tonight. We told you about Votto's struggles on the road. Baez, his struggles have come at home. Entering tonight, just a .527 OPS at home, 4th lowest in the league. 2 outs.
Well, they hit that triple last night, Baez did, on a pitch up and in, and kind of took it right down the right field line. That made it a 3-0 ball game. All the runs the Cubs really needed were already on the board. The reverse of that tonight.
He said something to Bauer going by there that made Bauer smile. It's the first time we've seen a smile tonight, at least on camera for Bauer.
Probably said something like, what? I like your YouTube videos. I follow you on Twitter.
You know what? Bauer's as honest as they come. All you got to do is ask him about it after the game. He'll probably tell you exactly what he said.
Yeah.
.100 pitch mark.
I would imagine that if he can get out of this inning with just a few more pitches, we'll see him at least one more.
Fastball in the air to left. And it's a 1-2-3 7th for Trevor Bauer. How about Trevor Bauer here tonight? Strutting, coming off the mound. Game summary. If you missed the top of the first, you missed all the runs in this one. One swing of the bat. Mike Moustakas with 2 aboard. And Trevor Bauer's made it stand up here tonight. Giving up 1 hit, double digits in strikeouts with 10. As nasty of stuff as we've seen in a Reds uniform from Trevor Bauer. Osich still on the mound for the Cubs. And it's a quick first out here in the 8th. And here comes David Ross with the righty Castellanos due up. He will take the ball from Osich. We'll reset it on the other side. It's our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. Eighth inning, and it'll be righty Jason Adam.
Adams, 28 years old. He originally drafted by the Kansas City Royals. Pitched his first major league season a couple of years ago with the Royals. All of his appearances as a reliever. In for the 7th time here for the Cubs in 2020.
Spent some time at their alternate site in South Bend. Was called to the big club on August 16th and again on September 2nd. Nobody on. Batter's Nick Castellanos. Ball one. And now the 1-0 pitch. Bauer still got that game face on. Good right by him, dialed it up to 95. One-two pitch. Down goes Castellanos. 2 outs. Two-out batter is Jesse Winker. Looking for his first hit tonight. Breaking ball floats in for a strike.
Adams got a nice little breaking ball. Has a little droplet on top of that cap too.
One of the first things I noticed.
I mean, you ought to be a little bit more discreet.
No balls and 2 strikes on Winker. Plays off 1-2. Two balls and 2 strikes on Winker. Jason Adam born in Omaha, Nebraska. Attended Blue Valley Northwest High School in Overland Park, Kansas. Count holds at 2-2 on the Reds' designated hitter. Bottom of the 8th, here we come. Still 3-0 Reds. Sunday, meet Marty. Visit a participating Kroger location, meet the Hall of Fame, and receive a free commemorative microphone thanks to Cons. That looks like a cool item. For locations and hours, visit reds.com/Kroger. Trevor Bauer. Bauer power tonight. I'm not sure we've seen better stuff out of him.
Well, I've not seen better command out of him before. I mean, he was obviously focused. He's always has intensity. The guy's really dedicated to his craft. But tonight is just one of those nights when the ball comes out of his hand, feels so good. And he's beginning to strut a little bit here all the way into the 8th inning.
He'll get Caratini, Hayward, and Bodie. Not a single walk on that tally. This will be Castellanos. One down. And the batter is Jason Hayward, who hit probably the hardest hit ball tonight off of Bauer, but it was him lining into a double play. Right at Votto, stepped on first to double up Caratini. Lucas Sims getting it cranked up in the Reds pen. Those back-to-back at-bats with the hardest hit balls tonight off of Bauer. Caratini single ahead of Hayward's, lining into a double play, just slightly harder. Caratini 104.4 exit velocity, Hayward 103.9. But other than that,
back in the day, we used to just say a couple of hard hit balls right at them.
Yeah.
Hang with them.
Yeah. Two balls and a strike on Hayward.
Yeah, Bauer actually behind in the count here for the first time in about 4 innings. This is the kind of night that if you're Derek Johnson, you just take the night off.
Going the other way, and this will fall in front of Shogo.
That's the second hard hit ball that Hayward had. He had that one that you just talked about, the line drive right at Votto that was a double play ball. Good bit of hitting here.
Batter is David Bodie. Bodie 0 for 2, a strikeout and a ground out. Lazy fly ball to Akiyama. 2 outs. Bauer trying to get through 8. Last Reds starting pitcher to finish 8 innings was Trevor Bauer, but you got to go back to September of last year.
Well, the 2 complete games that he's had this year, of course, parts of doubleheaders, so they were 7 inning jobs.
Yep. Ildemaro Vargas.
I don't know. I mean, do you only have to have him 8? The way he's throwing the ball right now, if he puts up enough of a, I can't say argument, but enough of a case, would you leave him in the game?
If he can get Vargas on 3 or 4 pitches, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that it's even pitch count at this point. It's where his mental state is. he might be, mentally tired. Guys aren't used to going 9 innings, and sometimes that 9th inning can have kind of just like a weird energy about it.
Always incentives in contracts. I am not privy to his contract, but complete games, I would think, no.
I don't know. Nowadays, I doubt that's even a consideration. They may throw it in there, but I wouldn't think it would be a consideration in this ball game for Bauer. I think that he wants to win. He wants to nail it down. And, of course, things are going to get hairy.
This will bring the tying run to the plate.
Don't they always? But Ildemaro Vargas, we mentioned that he's a pretty good hitter. I mean, he's 29 years old. He's been around a little bit. Not a great hitter, but he puts the ball in play. And hit a ground ball out his first time up to the right side. This time gets a fastball that he's able to negotiate into the shift and get it into right field. And now all of a sudden the tying run at the plate.
And David Bell is out to the mound. He has made the call to the bullpen. Trevor Bauer will leave. And indeed, a terrific night for Bauer. That David Bell calls upon, with the tying run coming to the plate in the form of Ian Happ. And Lucas Sims has been mighty impressive this season.
Well, he has, and the interesting thing that he's in this ball game after Bauer is that he is the closest to Trevor Bauer as far as his delivery, his arm action, the spin on his pitches that I see around the league. We haven't seen everybody, of course, this year staying in our own little pocket of Central Division baseball, but short arm swing, mid to high 90s fastball, great spin on his breaking pitch. And one out to get out of this inning, and a tough part of the lineup as the Cubs are able to turn it over to the leadoff man.
Happ, the switch hitter, hitting from the left-hand side. And the first pitch from Sims is a line drive right at Moustakas. One pitch, thank you very much. 3-0 Reds going to the ninth. Clemente Day, which recognizes one player from each club who best represents the game through positive contributions on and off the field. Visit MLBcommunity.org to learn more. All of his 18 seasons with the Pirates, inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame in 1973. They waived the year's rule as far as getting in after his death on New Year's Eve 1972. Finished with 3,000 career hits exactly. And lost his life trying to help out another country on a humanitarian effort. New Year's Eve 1972. Craig Kimbrell, pitcher for the Cubs here in the ninth. And you never know what quite to expect from Kimbrell outing to outing.
Well, at least not in a Cubs uniform. He was a 7-time All-Star. You go back on his career, and he's had a tremendous career. Came up with the Braves. Pitched for the Padres for a year, pitched in Boston, of course. And then the Cubs signed him to a 3-year deal for big money after he had sat out for a little while, and he just has never really been able to catch on. I mean, his earned run average in his 11-year career is 2.1. That includes last year's earnings of 6.5 and this year's earnings of 8.1, which has got to seem just so foreign to him. So you look at Kimbrell, you think, well, he's throwing 97, he's throwing 96. He has this very tough to hit sweeping slider that he just handles right-handers with. It just has not been there for him, and the Reds have seen it up close and personal, an implosion of the Cubs bullpen twice with Kimbrell at the helm in Cincinnati, Great American Ballpark. Takes care of Suarez.
98 on the fastball. Tough night for Eugenio, the golden sombrero. And the guy providing all the offense in this one, Moustakas at the dish.
I'm not sure who Mike Moustakas is having that conversation with, but it's quite an animated one.
Guessing Caratini.
Well, he kind of was looking in the Cubs dugout when he was talking a little bit. Of course, with no fans in the stands, you can hear,
oh yeah,
you know, casual conversation from both dugouts.
Raisel Iglesias warming up. I showed bunt prior to that conversation. I don't know if that had anything to do with it. Counts 1-2 on Moose. Two balls and two strikes. And the 2-2 pitch. Two down, back-to-back punch outs for Kimbrel. Reds Live, the pregame edition prior to every Reds game here on Fox Sports Ohio, presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. Sonny Gray, after being pushed back between starts, will go to the Hill tomorrow night, 7:30 Cincinnati time for Reds Live. The game to follow. And he'll be on a mission tomorrow night to bounce back, can book it. First pitch strike to Akiyama. Kimbrel looks sharp here tonight.
Well, by far the best we've seen him throw this year, and I'm sure the Cubs are finally happy to have another dependable pitcher in their bullpen.
No balls and two strikes on Akiyama. If you're looking ahead to the ninth for the Cubs, 2, 3, and 4 due up. Contreras, Rizzo, Baez. So work to be done. Oh, 2 pitch. Kimbrel's back-to-back punch-outs. Cubs relievers overall average 10.45 strikeouts per 9 innings. Fourth best mark amongst Major League bullpens. Reds on that list. Third. Or excuse me, second. 11.28 per 9. Ouch. That one caught Caratini square in the mask. Wearing that hockey style mask. Count holds it 2-2 on Akiyama. Good piece of hitting by Shogo. The adjustments that Shogo has made about a week or so ago, you can see it coming to fruition with whatever they had in mind, whatever adjustment they made.
Well, looks like he's just staying back a little bit more. You know, he has a tendency to kind of run out of the batter's box, and you know that's fine. And even if you keep your hands back, but I mean, it's so much better if you just stay back completely with your body. And of course, he uses left field as well as any left-hander on that ball club.
First pitch to Brian Goodwin. Outside. Goodwin 0 for 2 here tonight with a walk. Throw down.
We know that Wilson Contreras loves the back pick at first base. So does Caratini. Just trying to keep Shogo honest right there. I'm wondering if he may think about running right here. I mean, you have a 3-run lead. What do you have to lose? It's more likely you get 1 hit off of Kimbrel the way he's throwing the ball than you would get 2 hits off of Kimbrel.
Reds have a 3-0 lead with only 4 hits, 2 of them by Akiyama. They have out-hit the Cubs 4-3, outscored them 3-0. Ball and a strike on Goodwin. One. Something's got those guys going. Imagine they're messing with Shogo.
I think you're right. I think that it was Shogo's translator is telling Votto how to say a few words in Japanese.
Hey, good to see some smiles down there.
Absolutely.
But don't distract Shogo so much that he gets picked off, please.
Pretty good move over there, and a quick tag by Rizzo.
They might look at this.
And they are going to look at this. Well, the Cubs have done well so far with the replay review tonight. I think, aren't they 2-0 tonight?
Yeah.
And Rizzo has been involved in each of them. The Cubs players are running off the field.
Yeah, they're looking at the replay on the big board.
Oh, yeah. Blame it on the Reds dugout.
Yeah. Out. All right, here we go. Bottom of the 9th. Reds will try to protect a 3-0 lead. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And by your local Toyota dealer. Visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. Bottom of the 9th from Wrigley. A couple of defensive changes. Kyle Farmer into the game. He's at shortstop. Freddie Galvis moves from short to second base. on the mound. Raisel Iglesias looking for bounce back.
Well, a nice clean inning here for Iglesias would do this ball club a world of good. 14 games, 5 saves for Iglesias.
First pitch, right to Farmer. 1 out. Take that.
Like that all day long, don't you?
The ball seems to find a guy that comes into the game.
Who would have ever thought at the very beginning of the year that you would be putting Kyle Farmer in late in the ball game to play defense at shortstop? I mean, here was a guy who was your backup catcher for a period of time last year.
Well, he's worked his way into that role. He's done it on the merits of his play.
Good for him. He looks good out there, too.
Mm-hmm. Well, he calls it home. Shortstop his whole life.
Well, it shows you what David Bell thinks of him when you have Jose Garcia.
Yep.
Very talented young phenom type of a player on the bench who can play good defense.
Ball and a strike, the count on Anthony Rizzo. Nasty pitch. 1-2. Count holds at 1-2.
Nearly an excuse me double.
One, two again to Rizzo.
Cubs have won the most games this year with 4 or fewer hits. They won 5 of those. Reds are trying to do it for the 4th time this year if they're able to hold on and win this ball game.
1-2 yet again. On the ground to Votto. Flip to Iglesias. 2 down.
Hey, look around scores of the league. You know, we said earlier, and I said it actually, and I ought to correct myself, how this has been a year in which pitching has dominated hitting, except today.
Milwaukee.
When Milwaukee beat the Tigers 19-0, and the Braves right now lead the Marlins 29-9.
Jeez. Former Red Adam Duvall, 3 home runs in that game.
Couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
Oh, yeah. First pitch to Baez, swing and a miss. Good for Adam. He's got 9 RBIs in that game. 9!
That's a good month for some people.
Popped up. And this should do it. The Reds shut out the Cubs 3-0 to even up this 3-game set at a game apiece. It's the first time the Chicago Cubs have been shut out in 2020. Reds have a chance for a series victory tomorrow night after Trevor Bauer tosses up a gem 7 2/3 inning of scoreless baseball. And he combines with Lucas Sims and Iglesias to shut out their division rivals. And the first shutout at Wrigley Field since 2018 for the Cincinnati Reds. High fives all around. And what is truly, right now, must-win situations for the Reds. At least on this night, they get it done. Reds Live, the post-game show, coming up next here on Fox Sports Ohio.